she was explaining the story and the fact that she armed herself, she was in her vehicle. She was in her vehicle. So my initial thought, and based on my experience, was that if it was a threat to her vehicle, if it's time that this was required to do it. However, it could be just some type of move on her vehicle to the middle of the street in order to provide where it was placed.
And how far from where the body actually was to where...
Hey, Tisa Burst. Hey, hey, hey. I wanted to touch bases on this because when it goes to trial, I'ma cover it. But in the meantime, let some folk come on in. I'm gonna touch bases on Trai Slime. Trai Slime. Trai Slime. Lil Migo. Ooh, we done talked about Moose Slime. I mean, not Moose Slime, Trai Slime. That's Lil Migo. You affiliated with him. Who else Trai Slime? Shit, somewhat Gotti, BLACYOUNGSTA. He on the run after he got shot in the head a couple months ago. People thought he was dead. Hold on. Why I can't stop this? Oh, I can't stand this this attorney that got...
With regard to the hearsay objection.
Hold on. We're gonna listen to that after we watch this one. What's going on with Trai Slime? He got shot in the head over in Frazier in the same apartments. I think what's his name? YOGOTTI was raised in. Another little boy got shot too. Let's check it out. They say he a wanted man. They said word on the street is once he got better, he went in, took out the guy who
and we do have this breaking
shot him in the head.
We're learning more and more about a robbery that led to a deadly shootout in Memphis. The victims told police they knew who those robbers were. They were a pair of self-described rappers.
Well, Fox 13's Jeremy Pierre joining us from the Breaking News Center. JP, you just got an important clarification from Memphis police. What did they tell you?
So, yeah, we got to unpack this right here. Earlier this morning, we told you that police said the man who was killed in the robbery turned shooting Keyshawn Thomas was one of the robbers. Well, Memphis police just told us he actually is not involved in the robbery. All right, he got killed in the shooting, however. The shootout happened last month in Frazier. Police say Andre Scott, known as rapper Boo Two Guns, and Robert Mitchell, known as YNC Trai Slime, robbed two men at gunpoint at a gas station on Rangeline Road, along with a third unknown suspect. That led to a shootout. That's where Thomas got at gunpoint at a gas station on Rangeline Road, along with a third unknown suspect, Boo Two Guns, and Robert Mitchell, known as YNC Trai Slime, robbed two men at gunpoint at a gas station on Rangeline Road,
now
along with a third unknown suspect.
Why?
That led to...
He is also the one who backdoored Lil Migo, stole his jewelry. That's word on the street. He stole his necklace. And that's how, Lord, y'all remember when, bless his heart, you remember when, he in jail, so now I can't remember his name. Jizzle wind up with Lil Migo necklace and stuff. Yeah, they say he the one who backdoored Lil Migo, set him up.
Robbery. All right, he got killed in the shooting, however. The shootout happened last month in Frazier. Police say Andre Scott, known as rapper Boo Two Guns, and Robert Mitchell, known as YNC Trai Slime, robbed two men at gunpoint at a gas station on Rangeline Road, along with a third unknown suspect. That led to a shootout. That's where Thomas got killed in. Again, police say Thomas not involved in the robbery. Afterwards, the robbery victims told police
right there.
that they knew the robbers because they are familiar with their music. The Memphis police gang unit identified them. Now Fox 13 is learning both men are familiar with the law here in Memphis. Police arrested Scott for attempted murder back in 2022. Earlier this year, police arrested him again after being caught with stolen cars, guns, and drugs. Scott initially held on a $250,000 bond, but that case got dismissed a few months later due to a lack of probable cause.
They're showing a lot of guns,
now, the
y'all.
second suspect, Mitchell, police arrested him with stolen cars multiple times. In
Okay,
fact,
so
Fox 13
hold on, because we going to recognize T-Sippers. We going to recognize some of these faces.
Police arrested him.
So, because I just saw Big Newski little brother.
Cars multiple.
They got these guns, so I can't hear him. That's Big Newski little brother. So then, if that's the case, then we know that this is tied to a whole bunch. This is tied to Big 30. Cause that's Big Newski little brother. What's that other babies? I can't think of their names right now. But that right there is Big Newski brother.
Times. In fact, Fox 13 reported
I'm trying to stop the guns
on one of those car thefts 2 years ago. And months later, Mitchell actually used that mugshot right there as an album cover for one of his songs. Both men are charged with first-degree murder. Scott is behind bars. Mitchell is still on the run. And we're still working to gather information on that third unknown suspect. So stay with us all throughout the day here on Fox 13 News. Working right now to have
we
some
are very familiar with Trai.
The rap game is changing a lot. Chairman Pierre live in the news.
Do I need to go to the archives? Let me touch bases on this before I go to the pastor. Stand your grounds. May he rest in peace. Trai Slime. I'm talking about the pastor, but as far as Trai Slime, he just recently got shot in the head. Because I was looking at him like he could have been one of the ones who was in that car when it came down to, hey Samantha, when it came down to the shooting downtown. I'm tripping on why I don't know these people's names. I've been gone that long, y'all. Oh my goodness, have I been gone that long? Hold on. I am having issues with these people's names. The cat out of Houston that came to Memphis and got shot up and got his homeboy killed. I cannot think of his name. But I do know he was the one who set up Lil Migo. Is spinning around, y'all. He set up Lil Migo and got his necklace taken, and he backdoored his partner. Why am I spinning around? Why am I spinning around? Say so, P. Yeah, well, what's the other one out of Houston that he... Let me go into my archives. How about that? How about that? Sauce Walker. I couldn't think of his name for nothing. I'm finna have to go to my archives because Instagram is tripping. Instagram is tripping. I'm trying to look up Trai Slime. Yeah, I just thought he got shot in the face. And people, the word on the street was he was unalive. And then, hey, stop playing. And then he popped up saying no, and then he showed himself in the hospital. I don't got nobody left. I'm trying to get to it. I'm about to go into my own archives. I've been away too long. She said, get them likes up. After being shot in the face, he is on the run. Why is this? Why is this? Stop. After being shot in the face. Hey, Christina. No, Christian, I'm sorry. Edward. So here it was here. He got shot in the face. Who on the run? Trai Slime. You know, a couple months ago. Let me go into my archives since I guess I've been away too long. Trai Slime. He also backdoored Lil Migo when his chain and jewelry got taken, and CEOJIZZLE wind up with it. Did he wind up with it? What? All I know is he's one of his boys. And that chain came up missing, and CEOJIZZLE had it. And then what happened? Oh yeah, And then what happened was Kenny Money wound up getting it back for him. Went and talked to one of his partners, what have you. But he was also cool with. No, let me slow my roll. I don't know if he was there. I don't know if he was there that day. I can't quite remember why I was looking at him like he was one of them guys that was in that car with the people who shot up Sauce Walker and Say So P. I don't remember, because right after that, they had that big old shooting. I'm trying to get to that necklace when Jizzle had it, if he still got it on here. And he was kind of taunting Lil Migo. Well, where had it on the street was who backdoored him was Trai Slime. So they said he is a robber. He's a thief. And he backdoored his partner. I'm trying to get to that necklace when Jizzle had that necklace on, and he may have taken it down. Because he had plenty of pictures with that necklace. Here go this infamous picture. Right here, when he had on his necklace. Y'all remember? Right there. And he had his watch on. And hi, Envy. There we go, right there. So let me see what I have in my archives. How about that? I'm gonna go to my archives by Trai Slime.
Jen,
Before we get on over here to this Stand Your Ground that I will be covering when it really go to trial. Who is the witness list? Oh, yeah, I want to keep that up. Hold on. I'm gonna go into the archives, baby, because you know I'm in there, right? Hey, Scott. You know I'm in there. I'm gonna have to go into them archives. I ain't too far. And then, you know, next month we gonna be on Hernandez Govan with the Dolph case. Baby, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I do know one thing for sure. I will be covering it. Hello? Hello? AunTeaFee going to the archives. Yes, indeed. Trai Slime. Yeah, they want him for first-degree murder. Word on the street was that the guy he was possibly acting like he was robbing may have been the guy who shot him. I don't know what's going on with that. Well, yeah, I do. It's always on Get Back, right? Right? Trai Slime. Yeah, because they were saying he was killed. Let me see what I got. To my T-sippers.
So, of course, that's why my name is still
Banjo, Boss Man. I think I took a picture of it.
Moultrie was tracked down, basically hunted.
And he can't help you pay your car note, huh? I'm in here talking noise, Lord. That ain't it. I'm talking noise. Woo, baby. Trai Slime. Lord, and I sure be talking noise, don't I? Trai Slime. Why am I having a hard time finding him? Anyway, they can't put it on GUCCIMANE now. I don't know what's going on with him. Why am I having problems finding Little Migo? Because it was a big old shooting in Frazier. Let me go into Frazier. I don't know how I did it. And they were saying, oh, he laying down. Oh. God, dog, I can't find it. Anyway, he on the run. He is on the run. What is this? Retaliation. Y'all, they get back. Where? Yeah, because it wasn't that long ago. It was a shooting. And the little kid got shot. They both got shot. Well, one got shot in the face. And a little kid. And it was on a... I don't know why I can't find it. But anyway, because it's late, I guess. So let me get to this over here. About the pastor and the stand your ground.
Established that it's a hearsay response, so I will overrule the objection at this time and allow you an opportunity to see.
And the pastor, may he rest in peace. It's just awful, yeah. And I had already started watching it. Which one you talking about is awful? Can y'all hear her? Can y'all hear this? Hi, Slim Roo. Can y'all hear this? This is the lady who killed, shot the pastor at the bar. Stand your ground. It's what she's using. I think she's out on a $300,000 bond.
I'll show the 911 call marked as Exhibit 2 for you so you can indicate no objection.
And her attorney is the same guy, one of the attorneys that got the 3 officers off.
We'll need to continue negotiations outside the courtroom for purposes of this hearing.
In Memphis.
What is previously sworn, you may begin.
Good morning. Will you state your name, please?
Good morning, my name is Officer Wardell Boyd.
And also, how are you employed?
I am employed to figure this matter as a police department.
And how long have you been so employed?
I've been a police officer for 3 years.
You've been a police officer in the police department for 3 years. And what shift do you work?
I work Alpha 2.
Can you tell me?
Yeah, Slim. I believe in the stand your ground. But I know a lot of people not going to be happy because they, you know, he was a very popular pastor.
What is your precinct or ward? Where are you applying?
I'm assigned to compensation 21 ward, which is on South Memphis.
Please hit the like button, please.
You're assigned to compensation 21 ward, South Memphis. What is your role for the district?
I am a patrolman.
And can you tell the court a little bit about what it means to be a patrolman?
Basically, I do call for service, so I have to call for police, wide range of calls, as well as traffic enforcement and special obligations that I need to handle at the patrol level.
And were you on duty in the early morning hours, or had you gone on duty on March the 11th at 2300 hours?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were on duty in the early morning hours of March the 12th, 2025.
It wasn't a club, it was a bar restaurant. But I think he said that everybody, Oh, yeah, I think I heard him say they was tipsy. I don't know.
The nature of that call.
The nature of the call now is shooting with a person's truck.
Shooting with a person's truck. And did you have any additional information as you were making the scene at 855 Kentucky regarding the shooting with a person's truck?
Just like always, initially when the shooting call comes out, they get their information because that's all they know at the time. Then the call is okay, they had the approach the scene. So the only information I had initially was that being shot.
And as you approached the scene, did you get any additional information? And can you tell us what the information was?
The updates were, it was a female who shot the male victim, and she was still on the scene. They gave us a description as well as there was pretty much
And when you make the scene, are you the first car that makes the scene?
yes, ma'am, I was the first to my phone.
And were you riding in your car by yourself, or did you have a partner? Tell me how that was.
I was by myself.
Okay, so you're the first car that makes the scene. What did you see when you get to that scene at 855 Kentucky?
Pull up to the scene, pull in the middle of the street, right in front of the bar, on the bar, and I see a white SUV to my left.
Hey, plus size baddie.
Cars over to my right. I see a female, male black. I see a male black who is lying on his back in the middle of the street. Two males who were in him at that time.
And you said you saw a female when you arrived on the scene.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make any contact with that female, given what you have learned as you're approaching the call?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, she was the first person to come up to me at that time.
And when she comes up to you, what did she say, if anything?
She was basically mumbling like, Lord, help, something like that. And then I asked a question, where's the shooter? And she said, it was me.
She said it was me. And the person that said it was me in response to your question, where is the shooter? Can you see from this photo today?
Yes,
Can you please point around and describe your photo?
she told me about it.
Is there stipulation? Will show the defendant identified for purposes of today's hearing.
And she approaches you, you say, who is the shooter? She says, it was me. What do you do now?
At that time, my primary objective was, of course, security. So I told her to step back, and then I went to check on the victim.
Do you ask her what the weapon is at this point?
At that point, I did not ask her what the weapon was.
Okay, so your primary objective at this point is approaching the victim that's in the street.
Yes, ma'am.
So you approach the victim that's in the street, what happened?
So once I checked to see if he was not the rifle he was responsible, he was not at that time. I then went back to the suspect to secure her because I did not know where the weapon was. And at that time, my partner, Officer Brazier, had pulled up and we were able to detain her. And then I was next to me.
At that point, what did you do?
After I went back to the victim, of course, I continued to check for signs of violence, pulse, any movement, any angle breathing, and then I went into chest compression.
At the time that you were checking for the signs of life, the pulse, the animal breathing, did you observe any signs of life?
Unfortunately.
As you're rendering aid, can you tell me what's going on around you on the scene?
As I was rendering aid, the scene began to get very chaotic. There was a lot of people out in the area, so of course, you're watching your surroundings. And then at that time, more responsive officers made the scene, and we were able to go ahead and get the task that we security process.
And you are rendering aid, the scene is getting more chaotic. Does someone come and help you render aid to the victim?
Yes, ma'am. Officer Moore responded to the scene and he stepped in to CPR while I and together that crime.
And as a scene officer that's responding to a call of this nature, is that one of your roles? Just gathering facts,
Yes,
securing
ma'am.
the scene?
Yes, ma'am. I'm the first initial investigator on the scene.
You're the reporting officer?
Yes.
Okay. So you turn over the aid rendering to Officer Moore, and you begin to secure the scene, and you begin to start looking around and doing stuff. During the course of that, tell me what you learned.
So, of course, the actual crime scene, looking for shell cases, things like that, any type of weapon. Once I established that the weapon was not in eyesight or in fact, you call it, I went and asked Samantha, what was the weapon? She told me it was
go, you checked the weapon, it's in her vehicle, and where is it in her vehicle?
It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the front driver's side on it.
And so you're just reverting the chain of custody, she told us where it was, what happens after that?
So when she told me I actually had another officer go see about the vehicle, it was not the truth, it was actually, so once we established that, then we had someone who was having a panic attack, asthma attack, so we tried to make sure that she was okay. She also was a witness, so that I knew her, the ID Samantha. So we started IDing the suspect, the police. We started that whole process, gather any other information that witnesses were available.
And you said that you had a witness that was having a panic attack, asthma attack, you were identifying witnesses. Did you discover witnesses on the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And those witnesses, you said you identified them. What did you note about the witnesses on the scene?
My first observation was everybody was under the influence of some unknown time. So, of course, at that time, everyone who was pretty much present out there had been drunk.
And so you noted that all these people are going through under the influence of some sort of intoxicant, they've all been drinking. You secure the witnesses. What are you doing next?
So after I secured the witnesses, we then began to look for video camera footage as well, and I go and I talk to them.
So you did make contact with Marion again. During the course of that conversation with Marion, can you describe her demeanor?
Her demeanor was very, of course, like I said, she was intoxicated. She was alert, but she wasn't belligerently back out drunk. A little incoherent in terms of answering questions, following direction type of deal. And of course, she was crying.
And after talking to her, does she tell you what happened?
Yes, of course, I always ask what happened, and I let them tell me as much information as they would.
And when you asked her what happened, did she tell you that she shot Mr. Boyd?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the court what she told you.
So basically, she said that they were arguing about something inside the bar. They got ready to leave, and the victim had already left, but they got ready to leave. The victim had returned. The victim was coming towards her. The victim was originally outraged at the time, and she then, the first time when the victim approached her, she went to the car and armed herself. She told me that she put the gun behind her back. She had the gun behind her back. She said several times that in the exchange that the victim kept approaching her and she kept telling the victim to back back. And then there was the last time when she with her hand, took the gun off safety. And then the last time telling the victim to back back, she reached forward and accidentally fired a shot.
So she tells you that she accidentally fires a shot after she's taken the safety off of the gun.
Yes, ma'am.
At this point, she's given you this information. Do you then make an attempt to confirm what she's telling you?
Yes, ma'am.
And during the course of analyzing the scene, are you able to find inconsistencies or things that rebut what she has told you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were you able to discover that was not consistent with what she was telling you?
Well, the biggest inconsistency was when she was explaining the stories and the fact that she armed herself, she was at her vehicle. She was at her vehicle. So my initial thought, and based on my experience, was if it was a threat in her vehicle at that time, then that's where the crime scene was ended. However, the victim ended up being in the middle of the street. So it had to be some type of movement from her vehicle to the middle of the street in order for the body to be where it was placed.
And how far from where the body actually was to where the vehicle was or where the altercation?
Why did he get out of the car?
How far away was the body?
Oh, there approximately about 2 to 15.
At any point during the course of your time on the scene, and you're just gathering facts to convey to the investigating officer, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm gathering facts to convey to the scene so he could be notified the proper paperwork.
And at any point during this fact gathering, are you able to ascertain, she has told you a number of times that she told him to back. Did she ever tell you that she was afraid?
No, ma'am.
Did she ever indicate to you that he was armed?
No, ma'am.
But she indicated that she armed herself and put the gun behind her back.
Yes.
She never indicates to you that she arms herself and shows the victim the gun.
Yes.
She arms herself and puts the gun behind her back. At some point, she takes the safety off. And then she even told you that she extends her arms, and that's when the shot is fired. During the course of your fact gathering, are you able to ascertain whether the shooting happened during this quote-unquote backing back, or was there forward movement by Ms. Marion?
After the initial investigation, we were able to determine.
If he's testifying as to what he knows firsthand,
This is the attorney
testifying to what other investigators
that was also on the Tyree Nichols.
That's classic hearsay. We don't know if it's first-hand hearsay or second or third degree hearsay, but he's saying something about.
Yeah, I remember.
That's not what the duty of this patrolman on the scene.
With regard to the hearsay objection,
Judge, I'm not offering a privilege just as a matter of asserted. I also don't know that it's been established that it has been a hearsay response.
it's not been established that it's a hearsay response, so I will overrule the objection at this time and allow you an opportunity to proceed. We will revisit the objection should it need to be revisited.
During the course of your fact gathering, were you able to ascertain whether or not Ms. Marion was walking forward when the shooting occurred?
Yes, ma'am. We were able to establish that there was another altercation that occurred after.
Lord, I just think,
And was she moving forward or was she backing back?
It was forward from her actual location.
Ms. Marion was moving forward. And was that consistent with where the body was laying in the road where you made the scene?
Yes,
This time,
You may. And you're free to move around. Just grab your microphone if you do, so we can see to hear you. It's no worries.
Charges for shooting and killing in this country.
Officer Boyd, yes.
Officer Boyd, you said you've been with MPD for 3 years.
Yes, that's what we said.
Do you have any experience in homicide?
Homicide, no, sir. I mean, in terms of responding to homicide, yes, but investigation is
Investigating homicide. Do you have any experience as a detective?
detective work in this
Did you have any experience as it relates to blood spatter, gathering, where certain things would be as far as evidentiary, spent shell casings, etc.? Do you have any kind of training in that?
blood splatter, no. We do get trained on crime scene investigation. So especially when it comes to shell casings and things like that, because if the bureau is not going to handle it, we have to take those photos and collect the evidence.
And were you responsible on that scene for collecting the evidence and? Okay. And as it relates to the videos, you actually watched the videos yourself on the scene, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said that in your affidavit, you determined they were involved in an argument. You couldn't tell from the video whether or not the argument was on that scene outside or inside, could you?
In terms of the video, no.
And on the inside, you did see the videos, the several videos on the inside. Did you look at those? No, sir. Okay. And as far as the outside.
oh, he didn't look at the videos on the inside. That's where it started.
When you came to the scene, you were asked a question a few moments ago about whether or not Miss Marion conveyed the fact of her being scared or not. Did you ask her that specific question? Were you scared?
No, sir. There's no question to that.
Okay, and so on that particular scene, had you ever met Miss Marion prior to that night? And so whether or not her demeanor would have been consistent with being under the influence or consistent with the fact that she had fired a firearm and hit a person on a parking lot, would you be able to discern whether or not which demeanor she would have had? In other words, she would have been out there on that particular night after having called 911, correct?
One could argue,
she didn't get in the car and run away and you had to catch her.
that's correct.
She's standing out on that scene, right? She identified herself as a shooter, correct? She also identified the fact that her gun was in the car.
So, but you caught her drunk.
And you said that you got the gun out of the car from that front seat, right?
I did not move the gun. I saw the gun.
Okay. You want to make sure you change the custody, correct? Of course. From your memory, and if you don't, I'm not going to do it, but do you remember who would have gotten the gun out of the car?
The gun, from my recollection, the vehicle was actually towed with the gun inside to,
Hey, Cricket.
investigative officer.
You was wondering when he was going to object.
Yes, sir. And at her pointing to the bag, it's on my seat in the car.
Yes, sir.
And when you got to the scene, she didn't try to leave or anything like that, right?
That's correct.
And there were 2 witnesses on the scene.
At this time, yes.
And did you talk to the witnesses directly?
I did.
And did they indicate, when she asked you the question about her fear, they indicated, I can rephrase it and definitely sustain.
I'll sustain the objection, allow you to rephrase.
I'll rephrase it. Based on what you were asking, you're not offering testimony that's saying that Ms. Marion was not afraid, right?
Based on what we did.
So you're not here saying that you're speculating or you're guessing whether or not Ms. Marion would have been scared when this altercation was going on, right?
That's correct. I'm basically just arbitration.
Right. And you didn't ask those specific questions, right?
That's correct.
You're out there in response to a call that will come in. You were not out there in the role of a homicide detective trying to gather certain statements from people and writing down those statements, were you?
So the job of a patrolman is, of course, to establish the facts of the incident.
Oh, he's stumbling, y'all.
And what happened is determine and gather those initial facts. In terms of the further investigation, that will only be on the homicide. But my job is not just to show up and to stand there, especially as a reporting officer.
But you said if somebody wasn't scared.
I know that you're working, so I think you're not just standing around. But while you're out there and you're gathering information, your information, I'm looking at the video, for instance. You can't tell at what point from that video from outside that the firearm was actually fired, can you?
No, so my report only goes off of statements, not findings.
Right. So you're based off of what you're saying when you describe that it appears that hands go up, right? You said, but you can't tell whether or not that would have been after he got shot, right?
Repeat.
You can't tell at what point his hands go up. In other words, you didn't say that there was some jerking when his hands went up, indicating that the shot was fired. Definitely, from the video, cannot see fire come out of the firearm or smoke come out of the firearm. Correct?
So the video, I have seen the video since. When was this? When did this happen?
Is he stumbling?
You're on the affidavit, right? And based on your affidavit, the way that you wrote it, you don't say that you can tell at what point Ms. Marion fired. You want to look at your affidavit for a second?
I read it.
Okay. You said you did read it?
I read it.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I just didn't get that answer for you. You said you want to read it or you read it?
I'll read it.
Okay, I got you. Excuse me. That's okay. You said that you described certain things, that it appears that he threw a phone, right? Mm-hmm. You also say that it appears that he threw a beer can, right? Mm-hmm. You got to say yes or no, because we're trying to get
Yes, sir.
All right. And you also indicated that there were 2 witnesses that were...
Baby, when folk get on that stand.
Right? Yes, sir. And Stephen Newsom, correct? Yes, sir. Now, you don't say anything regarding the approaches from Floyd towards either of them that you witnessed on the video. You didn't articulate that in your affidavit, did you?
No, sir.
And you didn't articulate the fact that either of them would have been on the ground at any point in this instance.
I'm going to object to this because that is either speculative or that is a question that necessitates a response based on hearsay. there's no, I mean, there's no indication in this affidavit about that, nor is it relevant as to whether or not.
But you made a statement that somebody wasn't scared.
Provocation when she committed a knowing or intentional killing.
Oh, if I may respond, just briefly. Now, I asked a question about what was left out of his affidavit. This is one of the charging documents in this case. If they're relying on, they brought this witness, and I'm asking things that if he would have seen that video, it would have been, you know, and it's their duty, you know, or their burden rather. I'm asking him what was left out of the video. If I've observed it and asked the question.
Thank you. I think I have enough to make the ruling. I'll overrule the objection. The questions that was asked at this point with regard to what was in the affidavit or what was not in the affidavit, I'll allow that, but I'll allow you on redirect to further establish and ask the questions you deem necessary to go forward.
As it relates to your observation of the video, you saw all the other altercations that were going on that lot up to with this Marion, correct?
Thank you. Stop playing.
Lloyd approached two different people on the video.
Thank
right?
you.
It's stated in my affidavit.
I'm asking you, do you remember looking at the video?
Right, I don't remember the video from March,
So you don't remember what you seen from the video?
I read the affidavit, right? So in terms of detail of the video about different angle altercation, I don't have the record.
Did you see Mr. Smith get knocked down on the video?
Yes, sir.
And you did not note that in your affidavit, correct?
This is not right.
Did yes or no?
Answer my question. No, you did know. No. And you also saw Ms. Smith fall down, did you not?
No, I can't remember that.
Did you see Ms. Smith just stand between Mr.
Yes, sir.
And did you note that in your affidavit?
I think you guys knew what the question was going to be. I don't.
Did you see Ms. Smith after the gentleman was knocked to the ground? Did you see Ms. Smith seemingly intervene as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember which altercation that was? Was it after did Ms. Marion arm herself between the time that the gentleman was knocked to the ground and then arm herself and then Ms. Smith intercepted?
We back. Yes, indeed, we back. Thank you.
You don't remember? Okay. Now, the way that it's noted in the paragraph,
Baby, they better start writing. Remember what they wrote.
there were two different altercations. The first altercation, and here's my question. The first altercation would have been after Ms. Marion and Mr. Smith leave the restroom, right?
Yes, sir.
After they leave, you see Reverend Floyd's vehicle, or the vehicle that would have come into the purview of the video. He gets out of the video, correct? I mean, gets out of the vehicle and approaches Ms. Marion.
Hi.
Correct.
Violi.
And
Violi.
Mr. Smith.
Hi. It's a pretty name.
At that point, and is knocked to the ground. And then, if I'm correct, the gentleman, Reverend Floyd, then gets back in his vehicle, correct?
How you don't remember?
I do know he was essentially prior to Miss Marion approaching him. But repeat your question for me.
I'm gonna ask you how the way you phrased that. Did Ms. Marion stand in front of his vehicle?
No, she was not.
Did Ms. Marion get in her car and block the vehicle in?
No.
Ms. Marion was behind the vehicle after the person who she was with was knocked to the ground. And she, according to your affidavit, began to record the video. I mean, the vehicle, the tag, right? So she's behind the vehicle recording the tag or taking a photo of the tag. And at that point, there was nothing that would have obstructed Reverend Floyd from leaving, correct?
At that point, as far as I could see, there was nothing in front of me.
Okay, so based off of your observation, there was nothing that you saw that would have blocked him from leaving.
Yes, sir.
All right. And at that particular point in time, did you see Reverend Floyd walk towards Ms. Marion?
Yes.
I don't recall.
Ah.
You don't recall that?
He got out the car and started walking towards her. What?
You said you had a chance to look at your affidavit, and to be clear, in the court has.
Now you lying.
Because you're the witness that they brought in. There are two different instances. The first instance, you tell me if I'm wrong, is where Reverend Floyd approaches them as they're trying to leave, right? And he appears to take this Marion's phone out of her hand and throw it. Yes, sir. He also appears to take what you said was a beer, but a bottle from someone and throw it. Was it his bottle or somebody else's bottle? You just saw a bottle get thrown, right? But that was by Reverend Floyd. That was not by Ms. Marion, correct? Yes, sir. And at that particular point in time, neither Ms. Marion.
They sure trying to protect the pastor, ain't they?
Attempted to do anything physically to Reverend Floyd. Am I correct? Did either of them do anything physically to stop him from getting in his car and leaving or anything along those lines?
There was an altercation that occurred that was between the witness and the suspect. It was something going on. So in terms of, like, I mean, in terms of
Did you see?
No, but they were all intertwined with each other. They were together.
At that point in time, when you're looking at the video, you do not see a weapon with Ms. Marion, do you?
No, sir.
Yeah, the lady, the pastor, yeah, it was a stand your ground situation. They got into it. He got into his car and left.
Nigga, she told me that she armed herself at her car. That's what she told me. That's not on video. So she told me that the first initial contact, when the victim came back to the scene.
He came back to the scene.
She then went to her vehicle, which was a Nissan, black Nissan, and armed herself.
I think we're describing the same thing. That was the first incident. In other
So
words,
she was already armed prior to,
and she went to the back of the car after being armed. Right. And that would have been when he gets out, walks towards Miss Marion after he got out of the car. That's the second incident.
okay, right?
All right. And then, based on that, you said in the video, you see it's something.
But it's like they don't want to tell on the pastor. It's like,
Yes, sir.
But you can't tell from that video that the fire has already happened. If he's already been shot and he's backing up, is what I'm saying. There's no way from the video that you can tell that to this court. Correct?
No, I mean, you wouldn't.
she's shaking her head no.
And it's definitely, you're not telling this court that he didn't get shot, back up, and then fall. You can't testify to that, right? Okay.
He want to though.
Okay. All right. And when you say they were involved in an altercation, did you get that from them that Ms. Smith would have been involved in an argument with Reverend Floyd when you use the term they in your report?
In terms of the physical altercation that occurred?
I'm going to read the sentence to you.
Okay, read it.
This is investigative made contact with witnesses Keisha Smith and Stephen Newsom, who stated that they had been inside the business with Marion when they became involved in an argument with Floyd. Are you saying they being Marion and Reverend Floyd, or are you saying that all three?
He's the police officer. He's the first responder. So this is a first responder hearing.
The suspects were arguing with the victim.
Okay. Now, that would have been on at the second incident on the parking lot, right? Now, were you able to determine, based on what you're saying, that argument was that the person who would have been out there was saying,
He's the police.
Lord, stop. Can you determine that from the video?
Repeat that for me one more time.
You can't determine, in other words, based off of your report, you don't know whether or not, at what time this Marion would have arrived versus the lady named Keisha Smith, right? And based on the video, you didn't observe the inside video where it's clear they were there two different times, right?
How about that? This is going on for a long time. Mr. Secretary was going to testify, and he was testifying, and he was correct. You didn't do this. If If he's gonna ask a question, ask a question. We can't get facts and evidence to Mr. Perry's testimony. If Mr. Perry was there, then we.
Objection as to form of the question.
Your Honor, I've been doing this a good deal of time, and unlike Mr. Megan's, I have Miss Fowler, Miss Mamie Fowler, trying to get out. But unlike what she might want, the way that I learned to cross-examine is through leading questions. I do not, if my witness, examine through leading questions. They're open-ended.
Of course, you can utilize leading questions, but just make sure that they are questions and not statements. Purely statements. And so I'll allow you to kind of self-correct on that, and then we'll move forward.
Thank you, Your Honor. So your testimony.
Y'all know I'm not particularly fond of him, but you know.
I can't tell whether you're trying to say that you thought the two witnesses were there with this Marion versus the gentleman who have arrived, and then the lady who have already been in the business. Do you know anything regarding the relationship at all? Okay.
Whew. But I don't like his way of doing things, but I don't like the police officer half-ass answering or over answering stuff that he don't know. Don't make no assumptions. Don't do that. All I know is Pastor should not have gotten out of his car and charged at her.
You're saying that other investigations will take this, take a ride at some point. Was there how long approximately were you out there were you the first person on the scene? I was. And you were in a one-man team or two-man team? I was by myself. Okay. Do you remember how long you had been there prior to the other investigators arriving? I could account approximately 20 hours. And that's when the investigators arrived. So it's a change that happened. Things because they notified the police funds, they notified the funds for homicide, fixed crimes, whatever the case may be. So they have to notify. I can't notify all first time by my they have to count. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll have to do brother John.
Thank you. Were you at? Thank you. Officer, you're welcome to make a report if you'd like to. You can leave a report if you need to.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Absolutely. I'll take a short recess. Allow you guys a little stretch break if you need to.
Ooh.
Have a bio break or anything.
Now, what was this about?
Everyone stand.
What is it, short recess, as you are?
Okay, so while they are in recess, let's see what this.
Pastor Ricky Floyd will remain out on bond as she awaits a... To begin with this story, the woman facing manslaughter charges for shooting and killing Memphis pastor Ricky Floyd will remain out on bond as she awaits a decision whether her case will go to trial. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joy Redmond.
And I'm Joe Burke.
Oh, so this is to see if it's going.
She appeared in Shelby County for a preliminary court hearing today, and Action News 5's Sidney Gray was inside the courtroom as a witness shared his account of what happened on that fateful night. Sidney, what did you learn in court today?
Hey there, Joe. Good evening. Well, we heard from the first responding officer who was on scene the night that Pastor Floyd was killed. Now, he testified about the inconsistencies that he says he saw in Marion's story the night that all of this happened.
Hey,
however, Marion's attorney says that he had issues with that officer's affidavit.
He should have drove off. You mean we agree? Big pressure.
That's the 911 call Samantha Marion made moments after shooting Pastor Ricky Floyd.
Listening to it, it definitely brought me closer into the space, you know, where the things happened and how the things happened. So, yeah, it was you know, tough to listen to.
Marion appeared in Shelby County Court for her preliminary hearing as the state presented evidence.
They have a burden to try to establish probable cause. That's all that this hearing was about. We're trying to see what their affidavit was saying versus what the facts show.
Officer Cordell Boyd was the state's only witness to take the stand. He described that night as a chaotic scene.
She was basically mumbling like, Lord, yo, something like that, and then I asked a question, you know, where's the shooter?
Oh no, he died that night.
She provided her account of what happened.
The first time when the victim approached her, she went to the car and armed herself. She told me that she put the gun behind her back. She had the gun behind her back. She said several times that in the exchange that the victim kept approaching her.
He got out of his car. She said, back up.
She said she then moved her hand, took the gun off safety, and then the last time telling the victim to back, she reached forward and accidentally fired a shot.
You saw he was in his car.
She was basically mumbling like, Lord, yo, something like that, and then I asked a question, you know, where's the shooter? And she said it was me.
He then said,
I don't say I always try to leave. You a lie. He should have left. I say stand your ground.
She told me that she put the gun behind her back. She had the gun behind her back.
He was out. No, Precious, stop lying. That is not what we know. I believe the pastor had already left.
As a chaotic scene.
He was already in his car. He should not have stopped and got out. She didn't have to run from him. She had the right to stand her ground.
Provided her account of what happened.
The first time when the victim approached her, she went to the car and armed herself. She told me that she put the gun behind her back. She had the gun behind her back. She said several times that in the exchange,
the pastor had already left. He's right here.
Telling the victim to back.
He should not have done that.
She said she then moved her hand, took the gun off safety.
Right.
Right,
right, Rick. He should not have gotten out of the car.
But Officer Boyd says there were inconsistencies, citing if Marion felt threatened enough to go to her vehicle for a gun, she could have left.
He had already left.
According to the testimony that was rendered, you had a person who had the opportunity to leave, didn't leave. You had him indicating that there were certain things left out of the affidavit that were important, that the gentleman had knocked down at least one person and had a second altercation with another intervening person. So those are things that we were trying to find out for sure.
Oh, he left that out.
You know, they weren't put in the affidavit.
Representative Antonio says Pastor Floyd
the opportunity to leave.
Vehicle for a gun, she could have left. Her attorney, though, pushed back.
According to the testimony that was rendered, you had a person who had the opportunity to leave, didn't leave. You had him indicating that there were certain things left out of the affidavit that were important, that the gentleman had knocked down at least one person and had a second altercation with another intervening person. So those are things that we were trying to find out for sure. And, you know, they weren't put in the affidavit.
Representative Antonio Parkinson says Pastor Floyd was his closest friend. He says everyone's lives would be different had both parties walked away.
A lot of these individuals that are here because their emotions got out of them.
See, the problem is he did walk away. He got in his car. His car was moving. He stopped his car to go towards her. He did leave. He came back. Dang, I missed what he was saying. The pastor went back. If you can leave, just leave. He did leave. He got in his car. His car was rolling. Why did he stop?
Yeah, it's still live.
Yeah. Hi, Jan. Did you know Pastor Floyd? I'm sorry. Condolences to his family. And you let that oh well, he don't know if he had been drinking. So the first responder left out details that should not have been left out.
Samantha Marion will remain out on bond. As you know, her next court date has not been set just yet, but her case has been sent to the grand jury. Otherwise, here outside the Sub-County Courthouse, Sydney Gray, Action 5.
So her case was sent to the grand jury.
She wants to hear more about where are you.
Kansas City to the capital city.
I guess I went back too far.
This News Channel 3 at 4. Topping your news leader first at 4. The woman charged in connection with the deadly shooting of Memphis pastor Ricky Floyd earlier this year was
Probably be okay. He got out this truck, yeah.
This would determine if the case moves forward. Thank you for joining us. I'm April Thompson.
I'm Alex Coleman.
Hi, Black Pusher.
The judge decided there was enough evidence to continue. WRDG's Dorita Patterson with what's new and with what's next.
Hey, Joanne.
The rules of Texas are continuing to turn into a one. We're in the case of Samantha Marion, 84 days after it's alleged she shot and killed Pastor Ricky Floyd. From the beginning, she has called this a case of
We're in the case of Samantha Marion. 84 days after it's alleged she shot and killed Pastor Ricky Floyd. From the beginning, she has called this a case of self-defense, but prosecutors argue otherwise. There was a preliminary hearing Wednesday here inside Judge Taylor Batchelor's courtroom. This would determine if there is enough evidence to move forward. Only one witness took to the stand, a responding officer who was dispatched here to Mama's Bar and Grill in South Memphis. Before hearing from that officer, those in the courtroom heard the 911 call made by the woman who was charged with the deadly attack. Take a listen. Floyd was unable to survive his gunshot injury as he was pronounced dead at the scene. And court, listening to every disturbing detail from that fateful night, were friends and family of Floyd who were seated roughly 20 feet from the accused. The court asked we not show him. Marion not only having to face a
If you can leave, leave. Don't be a fool. Oh, Lord. Here we go with that fool. Don't you know you ain't supposed to call people fools? It's over with for her because she went to the car. She went to the car and got it while he had already left. He was in his car, Black Pusher. Did you not see he was in his car driving? He stopped and got out. At that point, she already had her gun. She didn't run and get it. She had her gun. He was gone. He stopped. Hi, Verna. I know Memphis is a stand your ground. I don't know if you. Hi, Big L. Amy, hello. Hawaii Island, mahalo. Aloha. Aloha.
Judge brought the victim's loved ones to include longtime friend and state lawmaker Antonio Parkinson.
It's sad, unfortunately, that we're here because of all of the emotion that happens in these situations. It alters lives, unfortunately.
Marion's defense attorney had the chance to question the witness.
Investigating homicides. Do you have any experience as a detective? Detective work with information.
At the conclusion of that witness, the judge called for a brief recess, coming back with a decision the case would move forward.
Yeah, because, everybody liked the pastor.
For voluntary manslaughter.
They have the ability to present it to grand jury, and we have to wait and see what the grand jury does.
As you heard from the judge, there was probable cause for the voluntary manslaughter charge. Samantha Marion hopped on the elevator, flanked by family members, as she will remain free on the $100,000
They didn't give her no.
bond. The story will
Okay, I'm not finna argue with somebody. Just because somebody was at the bar don't mean that they was drunk. So was the pastor drunk too? Was the pastor under the influence? So you saying the pastor had the right to charge at her? Yeah, they was thinking that she was gonna get murdered. They wanted first-degree murder. He should not have gotten out of the car. I mean, ooh, y'all kill me making excuses. What is the stand your ground in Memphis? He was in his car. Why did he get out? Why did he charge a woman? Take a self-defense course. Oh, so you think she should have? Oh, give me a break. Why do y'all think there are stand your ground laws in place? Take a course on leaving people alone. What about the course of leaving people alone? What about a course of if you in your car, keep moving, keep driving? What about that course? Where is that course? She looked like to me that she don't feel like being bothered with this. He should have stayed in his cars. He should have stopped. So you can get out your car and be aggressive and can't nobody stand their ground. You want that person to take a course. But you... y'all gonna make me put the pastor more on blast than I already have. He was already in his car. He came towards that woman like a raging ass bull. He did not have the Lord with him when he got out of that car. That was the devil. That was not the Lord. Now, pressure, that's the rules of engagement. The rule of engagement is he should have stayed in his car and he would still be alive.
Mr. Ricky Floyd, outside Mama's Bar and Kitchen, March 12th.
Talking about a right here. Right here. I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see something. Right here. You see them tail lights? You see them tail lights? He was in his car. He was rolling. He stopped. He should have kept rolling. He stopped his car. She was already outside. She already had her gun. It is not against the law to have a gun for protection. Hold on, Your Honor. Yeah. So don't tell me.
Appears to be some of the final.
He driving up to go. Now he done stepped hard on the brake. He done stepped hard.
Moments of Pastor Floyd's life. It shows.
At this point, he should have stayed rolling. Yes, you do. Black Pusher. Come messing with me, I'ma blow your head off. I'ma blow your head off. You in your car, you rolling, you already mad, you done already threw something at me twice, and you get in your car and you drive off and you throw something, you come at me, I'ma blow your head off.
The Tahoe truck he is in,
I'ma blow it out. So I suggest you choose the people you try to bully wisely. I'm gonna tell you that now. I'm gonna send you home to your maker.
Wait, getting out, walking towards.
Right here. He didn't have to do that. Now you can say what you want to say. I'm gonna blow your head off. You come charging at me.
The person shooting the video.
Right there. What'd he get out for? How somebody know he ain't reaching for no gun? Huh? And you want me to take a self-defense class and this big-ass man coming toward me? No. You done already threw something at me twice. I'm going to blow your head off. I'm going to put some hair back on your head.
As they yell to back up.
I'm backing back 3 times.
She backing up. She backing up. He's steady coming.
Now, when I do that, you know.
Look at him. He's steady coming. He's steady coming. She backing up. He's steady coming.
Back the up.
Back the fuck up.
Back the up.
Then the
And you say she wrong. Shit. You crazy as hell. He was in the car. I want you to see these taillights again. Now this is y'all fault because I wasn't finna go here like this on the pastor. I was gonna let him make it. But don't come in here playing with me about no stand your ground and hear grown ass big ass man.
Final moments of Pastor Floyd's life. It shows that
he looked like a fool. He looked like a raging a fool. Can you say raging? Can he say I was gonna let him make it? Y'all know I had not said nothing bad about the pastor until old boy came in here, put Black Pusher trying to bully me. Yeah.
The Tahoe truck he is in, putting on brakes.
He put on brakes.
Getting out.
Got out.
Walking toward the person.
Walking toward a woman.
As they yell to back up.
I'm backing back 3 times. Now, when I do that, you know. Back the up.
Don't touch.
Back the up.
Then the video drops out. WREG sat down with the attorneys for Samantha Marion, charged with shooting Pastor Floyd to death. They say the video speaks for itself.
It do speak for
itself. The video does not capture the gunfire that would have taken place probably maybe 3 or 4 seconds later, but it clearly shows him approaching her aggressively.
Hamilton, I don't know what you're saying.
Several times to stop, and
she warned him
he should not be, walking up on her like that.
Keith Perry says his
he
client,
was in his car.
Marion,
He could have kept rolling.
Shooting the video.
He could have gave her the finger and kept rolling.
She had met that night, got into a heated religion discussion with Pastor Floyd inside the bar. Perry says when everyone was leaving, Pastor Floyd walked toward Marion, and the man got between them.
He stands in front of Reverend Floyd. He's knocked to the ground by Reverend Floyd, and when he does, the back of his head hits the pavement, and he becomes a little stunned or dazed. Reverend Floyd then takes the telephone.
Hamilton, I don't troll over here.
And he throws it to the ground. And
so come back another day when you're not trolling.
And then starts to walk off.
That's when he says Samantha Marion picks up her phone and starts videoing the license plate of the truck, since she had never met Floyd before. That's where the video picks up.
Whatever triggered him.
Because he didn't want nobody to know his ass was at the bar.
He fought through 2 individuals to get to her. And
y'all hear that?
From the vehicle and
y'all hear that? He fought through 2 individuals to get to her. He didn't, yeah. Yeah.
He fought through 2 individuals to get to her. And watching him storm from the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out. but he had aggression in his heart and in his mind.
Yeah, he wasn't going to pray.
That this is only one piece of video from that night, and it does not include what police have described as Pastor Floyd holding his hands up and walking backwards away from Marion before falling to the ground.
No, he couldn't. He went through two people.
Family, WREG reached out to a family spokesperson and shared the video. It was their first time seeing it.
At this difficult time, we're just totally focused on prayer and maintaining our faith in the justice system.
Yeah.
We trust it will fulfill its purpose and provide us the answers and the accountability that is essential right now.
But Marion's attorneys believe the video shows their client was defending herself, and that should have been taken into consideration when she was in jail 7 days and given a $100,000 bond.
You're witnessing a person that has just been assaulted and is getting a tag number.
Yeah, that's not right.
And you're witnessing a person who...
The problem is he was very popular, very loved, you know, in Memphis. So, you know, they gonna make her go through that process. But, you know, that's the politics of it. You know, they got people that that do a lot of stuff to go in and get right out. But he was a very loved and popular pastor. Now, I don't know if folk didn't know he be getting his drink on, you know, and he couldn't hold his liquor, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what that discussion was about that made it get that heated, because they got into a scuffle inside of the restaurant bar and then outside. But they just said he went through two people to get at her. He had already grabbed the phone and threw it, a beer can and everything. No, he was mad. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
Trying to do what they're supposed to do, and you're witnessing a person who, despite the great 58 years that he has lived, and we're not asking anybody in the public to measure him by that last 30 minutes of his life or what have you, but for that last 30 minutes.
Oh my God, I don't like a black pusher. I don't know you, but I don't. We don't like fools. Did you hear? And you talking foolish. It ain't about. She's outside talking. She's outside talking to other people. She don't have to run cause he coming at her. No, I have a right. It's you know, Trump made it a right to bear arms. Remember, so she could go to her car and get her gun. She has a right to do that. What do you mean? She has a right to go to her car and get a gun and have it on her if she feels threatened. What in the hell are you talking about? He went back for trouble. What are you talking about? He was in black pusher. Don't say nothing else. That was not her in her car. He got out of his Tahoe. What are you talking about? I could go get my gun at any time. What are you talking about? You have the right to bear arm at any time. So what are you talking about? You sound slow. Are you slow? Are you slow in your head? This ain't the place for you tonight. I'm telling you that now. So go ahead and leave. Memphis. Stand your ground. Y'all kill me. Y'all want to be bullies, and then want somebody to comply. I don't give a shit. What you say is bullshit. Know your laws before you run up on somebody. Because if you run your ass up on me, I'm going to take your head off. I'm going to tell you that now. You can say whatever the fuck you want in the ground. I'm going to take your head off. I'm going to try to split it. Yeah, I'm going to want it to come off of your fucking shoulders. How about that? So you better check your people properly No duty to retreat. Do you see that in Tennessee? It says no duty to retreat. Individuals are not required to retreat. Now you shut up and take your ass to sleep. And you better not come up on people if you don't know the laws in that city, because they gonna take your head off. Rockabye, baby. Okay? Rockabye, baby. Yeah. You better check the laws in that state.
With any argument, Judge, the state will submit and reserve the right to rebut. Thank you.
Just talking and don't talk about bullshit, and you don't even know the laws. You gonna get taken out real quick and fast in the hearing. Trying to bully a woman.
Will you step towards the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a little bit before.
Yeah, that we had the ability to at least assert affirmative defense. And for clarity's sake, that we are preserving our right, this is something that's upstairs or whatever, but that our client does not have the necessity to testify to establish their authority. And it's a reason that I want to at least lay it out here is that I don't ever want to make it appear that while we're submitting this, that we're conceding to that thing. And so we think that, the court is...
She was able still out there talking.
Different in some cases when you have actual eyewitnesses that are present and available to testify, but based off the patrolman testifying, whatever the court would do as well.
All right.
And we do want to make sure we continue to have a...
All right. Judge, the state would just simply submit that we have proven the elements of the voluntary manslaughter. The state would submit that we've also proven the elements of the uncharged crime when employing a firearm in addition to dangerous felony, which can legally attach to the voluntary manslaughter. We're asking you to hold it to the state as charged. If the court feels in the necessity to add the employment, the state's fine with that. If not, that's a grand jury issue.
That's fine.
Would you like to ask that to you?
As it relates to the firearm charge, I do object to that. I don't think...
Yeah, that police officer, he left some things out of his report.
I understand that she has a second amendment right to defend herself. Now, their assertion is that during that particular time that, they want the case to go up as charged. I understand that. This testimony from this particular patrolman did not establish that she was committing a felony with anybody, that she did anything to obstruct the ability to leave, that she did anything to try to block or the normal uses for that.
She stayed, she called for help, she did everything she was supposed to do.
The testimony based off of what Ms. Marion indicated was that she did fire and she did strike a person that was coming towards her.
I wonder how many times did she hit him.
But as far as in the commission of a dangerous felony, that's not, I don't think that predicate has been made in this particular commission.
With regard to the case as charged, the voluntary manslaughter, my understanding is that you're not objecting.
I'm not objecting to that.
Well, both parties agreed and the state has carried their burden for today that so I will show the Samantha state on voluntary manslaughter. That's not to suggest that there will not be additional charges at the grand jury stage and subsequently filed by the state. But for today's purpose, I will find the probable cause for voluntary manslaughter. We'll show the Samantha state. We'll show that the defendant will remain out on the current bond, which is $100,000. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, y'all, there we go. So once it goes to trial, I'm gonna be on it. I am a firm believer in stand your ground. I can't imagine what they was arguing about, though. I cannot imagine what they was arguing about in the Bible. I can say this. God wasn't in none of what they was doing. None of it. What religion? I didn't. Pressure, you know you finna say something crazy. They was arguing about the. Was they arguing about the Bible? What did they say? Did they say they was arguing about something in the Bible?
Judge, do you mind if she does the victims get laid back to the court? That's fine.
Hold on before I go. What?
News Channel 3 video showing a portion. Beloved pastor and leader in Memphis left plenty of people stunned, many asking, why would anyone kill Pastor Ricky Floyd? Well, tonight, only on News Channel 3, video showing a portion of what happened the night Pastor Floyd was shot to death. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. WREG has viewed the video provided to us by the attorneys of the woman charged with shooting Floyd. We have carefully considered the weight of what's shown and the sensitivity to all involved in this tragedy. But we also believe it's an important part of the story and one you deserve to see. Here's WREG investigator April Thompson.
Shout out to WREG.
Plenty of speculation surrounding the shooting of Pastor Ricky Floyd outside Mama's Bar and Kitchen March 12th. Phone video captured what appears to be some of the final moments of Pastor Floyd's life. It shows the Tahoe truck he is in putting on brakes, Pastor Floyd getting out, walking toward the person shooting the video as they yell to back up.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, you know, back the up.
Then the video drops out. WREG sat down with the attorneys for Samantha Marion, charged with shooting Pastor Floyd to death. They say the video speaks for itself.
The video does not capture the gunfire that would have taken place probably maybe 3 or 4 seconds later, but it clearly shows him approaching her aggressively after being told several times to stop and that he should not be, walking up on her like that.
Keith Perry says his client, Samantha Marion, was behind the camera shooting the video, and it came after Marion and a man she had met that night got into a heated religion discussion with Pastor Floyd inside the bar. Perry says when everyone was leaving, Pastor Floyd walked toward Marion, and the man got between them.
He stands in front of Reverend Floyd. He's knocked to the ground by Reverend Floyd, and when he does, the back of his head hits the pavement, and he becomes a little stunned or dazed. Reverend Floyd then takes the telephone of Miss Marion, and he throws it to the ground, and he hurled a couple of insults or what have you, and then starts to walk off.
That's when he says Samantha Marion picks up her phone and starts videoing the license plate of the truck, since she had never met Floyd before. That's where the video picks up.
Whatever triggered him, he was upset with Mrs. Marion. He fought through 2 individuals to get to her, and watching him storm from the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out. But he had aggression in his heart and in his mind.
WREG acknowledges that this is only one piece of video from that night, and it does not include what police have described as Pastor Floyd holding his hands up and walking backwards away from Marion before falling to the ground. Out of respect for Pastor Floyd's family, WREG reached out to a family spokesperson and shared the video. It was their first time seeing it.
At this difficult time, we're just totally focused on prayer and maintaining our faith in the justice system. We trust that it will fulfill its purpose and provide us the answers and the accountability that is essential right now.
But Marion's attorneys believe the video shows their client was defending herself and that should have been taken into consideration when she was in jail 7 days and given a $100,000 bond.
You're witnessing a person that has just been assaulted and is getting a tag number and trying to do what they're supposed to do, and you're witnessing a person who, despite the great 58 years that he has lived, and we're not asking anybody in the public to measure him by that last 30 minutes of his life or what have you, but for that last 30 minutes was angry.
For your news leader in Memphis, April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, a part of the evidence in this case, and another prosecutor has been called in to handle this case because of DA Steve Moroy's relationship with Pastor Floyd. The two served on a number of committees and boards together. But Marion's attorneys believe the case has become political, saying lower bail has been given to people charged with bigger crimes than what they say is a case of self-defense.
Let me see what they say over here.
When you come to Washburn University, your goals matter. Every aspect of the Washburn experience.
We'll see what they say over here before we go.
ABC 24 News starts right now with breaking news.
And our breaking news on ABC 24 this afternoon is the unfortunate and tragic killing of Pastor Ricky Floyd of Pursuit of God Church in Fraser. The community stunned by his murder overnight at a bar called Mama's downtown Memphis, and we're going to discuss that today with two people of the cloth who know a thing or two about not only what it's like to serve, of course, but also this gentleman behind us here, who is hard to believe given how young he is, or was, I should say, and the contributions he made to this city. That we're having to talk about the latest victim of gun violence being Pastor Ricky Floyd. Let's start first, if we could, you two, with just reflecting a little bit on what kind of man he was and the contributions you think he made to the city. We'll start with you, Brother Fisher.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm sure both Pastor...
So at this point, they probably didn't know.
To Sheila, correct, his wife, and to the family of the Pursuit of God Church, and to the people of Fraser. We knew him, I knew him as a very eclectic, unorthodox faith leader, and for the legitimate criticisms that are leveled towards the black church for what black pastors don't do in the community, what cannot be said of him is that he did not try to be out in the community and extend his ministry beyond Sunday morning service in the four walls of his church. And so, of course, when you get news like this on a day like this, it is earth-shattering in a sense and unsettling, but we definitely want to do what we can to honor his life, his legacy, and his love.
Thank you, Pastor Earl Fisher with Abyssinian Baptist Church, and we also have Keith Norman, who's the pastor of First Baptist Church Broad. Why don't you reflect?
I also echo that heartfelt condolence extended to the family and to the children and to Amira, his granddaughter, whom I had the opportunity to meet. He loved her. He would take her with him from place to place when he would go places. But to say that he was an enterprising as well as innovative pastor, he did not.
I know they always shocked to see the video.
Could be overwhelming in a community and could seem to be far out of reach to go unsolved because of resources. He would look at the problem, and then he began to call in people whom he had access to and meet with them and say, here's a problem that we need to solve. He was a galvanizer of ideas and thoughts, and he never saw a situation that seemed too big. And by the power of God and the collective spirit of really getting people together and leveraging resources, he got the job done.
We have a quote from the church that we want to share with folks at home that was just released on the news that we've been telling you about today, and that is, his death is more than a loss for his family and his congregation. It is a loss for Memphis. Gun violence in our city has taken too many lives, shattered too many families, and
that I agree, most definitely.
This must stop. We cannot allow senseless violence to define us. We must stand together, neighbors, leaders, law enforcement, and faith communities, to bring meaningful, lasting change. That's from the Pursuit of God Church, about losing their pastor today. Who can't agree with that sentiment? Yet here we are again, gentlemen, and we keep having these conversations of not so prominent people in our community who are falling to gun violence, and there's this plea to stop it. We've got to do something, but we're not making a whole lot of progress. Homicides are down in Memphis year to year, double digits. In fact, I think it's at 12-13% at this point, but we have a long way to go. Keith?
The homicides are down, and while that is true, they're down from an astronomical record high. And so because they're down, it just simply means they're higher than they should be, actually. And so that work has been done, and kudos to those who are making that effort. But let's also look at the reality of it. This is the voice of Pastor Floyd in that statement. These are the words that he shared with us in Club and other areas where he served, and he would also echo that they have captured his spirit in those words right there. It was almost as if he wrote them himself. And then we have to look at the other things that contribute to this. It's not just a local Memphis.
They had no idea what had happened that night.
And be shared by anyone, and we made it
at
easier
this
to
time.
access. And then we look at this gun problem with lack of education about how to handle and store and use a gun. And then let's go even further. Conflict resolution and life management. We've taken it out of schools. And so now people feel as if I have a problem, resort to violence. The easiest thing to do is to grab a gun and then solve the problem. That's not the way. It never has been, and it never should be.
And I think that's part of the tragic irony of this. We are actually mourning the loss of someone who was using his platform, his prestige that he cultivated over the arc of his ministerial and pastoral tenure to try to respond to gun violence and now becoming victimized by it. I think it speaks to how vulnerable all of us are. And I think for far too long, we only seem to look at this when there are high-profile people like Pastor Floyd. But even Pastor Floyd was mindful of the fact that this could happen to any of us, especially as Dr. Norma was stating, when it is easier to get access to guns and drugs than it is to get access to a job that you want, or a type of education that you want, or some of the health care that you need. These are the structural and systemic issues that we ultimately have to respond to. And we can't continue to just deal with the symptoms without dealing with the system.
We don't know a lot about the circumstances leading to the crime, except that there was an argument at this mama, outside this mama's bar downtown with a woman, and it escalated, and then there was gunfire. And how often does that exact kind of situation happen? We had another pastor who was killed within the last couple of years in Whitehaven, Reverend Artura Eason Williams. That was more of a random crime situation, a carjacking, a theft that was involved. This was just if you talk to police, the crimes they respond to most often involve some sort of domestic argument of some sort, where things just get escalated out of control. And that goes to your point, Reverend Norman, of the need for how to help people de-escalate situations like that that they might find themselves in.
The tone of our nation, unfortunately, even from the federal level, unfortunately, is antagonistic at this point. We have a leader who chooses to fire at people. We saw this in the White House a few days ago, where there was this argumentative nature. Rather than showing how to de-escalate and bring things down, where people use language and words to solve problems rather than using violence or threats to solve problems. And so that very tone is set from the nation's White House all the way down to where we are right now. Artura was also a colleague and friend of both of ours. We shared time with her in seminary, in instruction, and co-leadership in pastoral roles. And so we have to look at these things and make sure that we don't normalize them. They are systemic as a part of our society, and they're being woven in, and not just because it's two pastors or another pastor that we speak of at this time, but because it's anyone that we speak of at this particular time. It is more important right now for us to concentrate on the great work that he's done, and not always the circumstances. We're within just a few hours of this happening, and so the details will play out. And so we should not give too much attention to those details at this point, so that we drown ourselves in misinformation or speculation, or that we start majoring in the minors, if you will. We should hear this person's contributions to life, his community, his family, his church, and figure out how do we prop those things up, and we continue that work, because if he was fighting to reduce violence and gun violence, we should definitely keep moving in that direction.
We were together several years ago in front of Regional 1 as a group of faith leaders and medical professionals announced that gun violence is a public health crisis.
Right.
And so I think what we're here to articulate and amplify is the perseverant nature of a pastor who, even though most pastors' tenure is somewhere between, a year and a half to 3 years, he had decades in pastoral leadership in the city of Memphis. And all of us know, if you have served in the pastorate any substantial amount of time, you had to overcome all manner of obstacles and trials to make any kind of positive impact, and he was able to do that. And we just want to make sure we celebrate and amplify that, to Pastor Norman's point, even as we look at the larger issue of gun violence that has plagued Memphis and Shelby County and the entire nation for far too long.
Not to make it political, but you did mention from the White House on down, and of course we know there's plenty of Democratic leadership on the Senate side and in Congress who are engaging in a lot of inflammatory rhetoric as well. But the importance of words, and that words matter. Reverend Norman alluded to it. Why don't you talk about that a little bit as well?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you are able to use words to incite, then that also means you should be able to use words to de-escalate. But there's not been a lot of promotion of those types of strategies. And when you are thrust into an environment of the type of political toxicity that we've experienced at the federal level, at the state level, and even far too often in the local level when we think about some of the developments in the school board for the last several months. You know, these are all things that contribute to the type of public policies that produce environments where these types of things happen far too often. And so I think what we are trying to argue for is an attention to the structural and the systemic and not just the symptomatic, because words matter no matter who is using them, but they obviously matter more when they are coming from people in positions of power and authority.
Well, as two men of God, you know, words can inspire. They can create very good feelings and goodwill and accomplish incredible things. And it does seem like we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit, and it's become much more inflammatory and on the negative side rather than encouraging positive action.
We use our words every Sunday and in between to bring hope to people. I shared earlier with a colleague of mine that people at Pursuit of God came week after week, Sunday after Sunday, to hear what they believe to be a word and perspective from the Lord given by their pastor, helping them to navigate this crazy environment in which we live, in which every morning we wake up to a new executive order that says this may or may not happen to your life. And that inspires hope, and that inspires.
I asked you not to say nothing else, Black Pusher.
That we're in. It is words that we use. It's the words that we use that help people to sustain and maintain and move in the right direction.
I done proved my point. So there's nothing else for you to say.
Those who may or may not be in the houses of faith.
Thank you. Sit back and listen or go. Bye-bye.
And also, I'll give you another tool that people have. There's another tool that you can put in your hand that most of us carry, which is called a cell phone. And when you find yourself in trouble, there are 3 numbers you can dial, 911. Get help to get into that environment, and you don't have to take matters into your own hand and cause violence that has so many other repercussions and that can send your life into a spiral because you've used violence against another person.
Well, speaking of words, let's look at the words of Memphis Mayor Paul Young, who also released a statement a short time ago about today's tragedy.
The problem is he had left, so there would be no need to dial 911 at that point. Before I go, here we go. I'm just not finna play with nobody's that just want to be stuck on stupid, Black Pusher. So there are laws in place, and it's called stand your ground. You don't have to retreat. He was in his car. He should have stayed in the Tahoe, the big hole. That's where he should have stayed. He did not. May he rest in peace. Okay? But I'm going to tell you, you come at me, I'm going to try to blow it off your shoulders. Okay? And I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying right there. And I'm going to shoot until it's empty. Okay?
A well-known Memphis pastor is dead after a shooting at a downtown restaurant.
You better choose wisely.
In the early morning hours of Wednesday, March 12th, 2025, a woman and her friends got into an argument with a man inside of Mama's Bar and Kitchen, located in Memphis, Tennessee. According to the witnesses, the man left the business and the women went outside. As the women were outside talking, the man returned and is seen on video.
Say what now?
The woman's phone.
Say what now? Say what now? Oh, okay. Per the witnesses. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the women went outside. As the women were outside talking, a man inside of Mama's Bar and Kitchen, located in Memphis, Tennessee. According to the witnesses, the man left
No,
the
you finna
business
go from over
and
here
the women went
forever.
outside. As
Bye.
the women were outside talking, the
I'ma blow
man
your head off.
returned and is seen on video throwing the woman's phone to the ground and throwing a beer can at her. He was then seen leaving in his vehicle, but immediately returned to confront the woman when shots were fired, murdering Pastor Ricky Floyd. And this story deserves to be written and told. Welcome to Crime She Wrote.
Shout out to Crime She
Pastor Ricky Floyd was the pastor of Pursuit of God Church and was described as a beloved leader, friend, mentor, and servant to the community. He was married to a lovely wife and was a father to adult children. He had recently released a new book entitled The Merge that he was recently promoting on Facebook until he met his untimely death.
A well-known Memphis pastor is dead after a shooting at a downtown restaurant. Memphis police responded to Mama's on Kentucky Avenue just before 1:30 this morning.
Entitled Unity. He was of God Church and was described as a beloved leader, friend, mentor, and servant to the community. He was married to a lovely wife and was a father to adult children. He had recently released a new book entitled The Merge that he was recently promoting on Facebook until he met his untimely death.
A well-known Memphis pastor is dead after a shooting at a downtown restaurant. Memphis police responded to Mama's on Kentucky Avenue just before 1:30 this morning. When they arrived, that's when they found the man dead. Sources have confirmed that the victim is Pastor Ricky Floyd from the Pursuit of God Church. Our Scott Mattis is actually live right now where this all happened. Scott, this is a big story, impacts a lot of people in Memphis. What have you gathered and what can you tell us?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The pastor, Ricky Floyd, of course, has influenced so many people all across the city of Memphis, specifically in Frazier, where he, of course, was a pastor and had been a pastor for so many years. But this morning around 1:30, his life was tragically cut short.
Authorities arrested 42-year-old Samantha Marion for the murder. When the story first aired, many speculated that she was Floyd's mistress. However, new details have been released in the case, stating that the pair were strangers to each other.
The woman who Memphis police say shot well-known pastor Ricky Floyd didn't know Pastor Floyd before the shooting happened. That's according to her legal team.
Yeah, the attorneys claim Samantha Marion and Ricky Floyd were strangers. Marion was in court today for a bail hearing. She's still behind bars on a $100,000 bond.
Action News 5's Imani Williams live with the latest on this case. Imani, we're hearing from Pastor Floyd's church regarding today's court hearing. What do they have to say?
Yeah, there are many questions regarding this case, especially the relationship between Pastor Ricky Floyd and Samantha Marion. And like you said, her legal team went as far as to say is that they are strangers. But I want you to take a look at your screen so you can see what the church had to say. Now, this is from the church where Floyd pastored, even released a statement today saying in part, quote, "We are deeply thankful for the official notification regarding the recent incident involving Pastor Floyd, who was fatally shot after enjoying a late-night meal. Floyd and the individual involved, Samantha Marion, did not know each other and were complete strangers," end quote. The prosecution argued against reducing Marion's bail today. Well, they said she could have let Floyd leave after he left the bar. The prosecution says she approached him with a gun behind her back while they were outside the bar. Now, the defense said she has a job, 4 kids, 2 of which are minors, and she doesn't have a criminal history, which is why her bond should be lowered.
Marion has been charged with involuntary
hit the like button, please.
And is currently being held on a $100,000 bond and is pleading self-defense.
Marion's attorneys went on to say her phone was thrown and she was verbally assaulted inside and outside the bar.
in our mind, no way that it should end up with any sort of conviction. We think that it's a classic self-defense case. We don't know exactly what the prosecutor was referring to as it relates to aggression, but everybody that we've seen and have talked to date has indicated that the aggression was from one person.
Now let's get into the details of this case. According to surveillance cameras, Floyd is seen acting very aggressively towards the women. I was also able to recover a video on Facebook that Floyd released a few weeks ago, apologizing to another woman that he was verbally aggressive with. Check this out.
I'll make this a real quick video. Man, I got emotional. Thought I had myself together.
Oh, wow.
I got emotional. And I'm just making this brief video to repent to somebody who said something on my last video. I'm repenting. One thing in 2025, man, I'm quick to repent. When I realized I messed up, I was wrong, I did something stupid, man, I'm quick to repent. It was a sister who was rebuking me because she said that repentance is personal. And I think I might have been crying at the time because I got emotional because one of my friends called and told me something that Thaddeus did for him. And I literally was crying. I had no idea I was going that way. I thought I was straight, thought I was good. And when the sister did what I perceived to be a rebuke that challenged me on asking Thaddeus had repented, I said, and I was wrong for saying it. I said, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard before. Now, I said repentance involves three things. Most of the time when God deals in things, there's a trinity. I said, number one, you need to repent to God.
Facts.
Number two, you need to repent to the people that you've offended. And number three, you need to repent to yourself. Again, emotionalism is not good when they're not under control. And so I said something totally out of order. I don't even want to repeat what I said. It was horrible.
That's deep, plus size baddie.
A man of God or a man, period, shouldn't have said that to nobody, especially another sister.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
Emotionalism is not good when they're not under control. And so I said something totally out of order.
Wow.
I don't even want to repeat what I said. It was horrible. A man of God or a man, period, shouldn't have said that to nobody, especially another sister. I was wrong. I was emotional.
Yeah.
Hey man, I've lost somebody. Whether you like him or not, and I always did.
It's like he talking to the lady who.
But when well, again, I don't want to get other people involved. But when I had a very serious family crisis, I didn't feel comfortable telling no other preachers. When I had a very serious family crisis, sad thing is I didn't feel comfortable telling no other preachers. told Thaddeus. He prayed with me, stood by me. I said, we're going to get through this. So, to the sister that I blocked, I tried to unblock her, but I think she blocked me.
I'm sure she did. If you said something.
This comes back to you. I apologize to you. I ask you to forgive me. In true repentance, when you really repent, you're supposed to make restitution. Sister's name was Lonnie. I blocked her. Then I tried to go back and unblocked her, and I think she blocked me. Sister, I was totally out of order, totally out of the will of God. I asked you to have mercy on me. I was emotional. And I ask you to forgive me.
Well, I respect the fact that he owned up to it. And
I ask you to forgive me how to respond, but I stand on what I said. When I said, you can't just repent to God when you hurt other people. And I'm practicing what I preach right now. I said something totally inappropriate and out of order to you. I've asked God to forgive me. And if you see this, I tried to unblock you, but I think you blocked me. So maybe this will get back to you. Maybe the algorithms will work in our favor this time. I'm asking you to forgive me.
I think repentance is unto God, and apology is unto the person to whom a sincere apology is who you've trespassed against. But repentance is unto God.
No excuses.
So I guess he would have cussed me out too that day.
Even though I don't agree with what you said, I was wrong. How I responded.
The Bible says repent and turn away.
And so I ask you to forgive me.
It's very ironic to me that he himself released a video admitting and apologizing for being verbally aggressive
to a woman.
Towards another woman. And in my opinion, Pastor Floyd appeared to have had a bad temper. In a Facebook post he released, he stated, "Today has been taught me communication with ignorant people is a waste of time." Now the question is this murder or self-defense? Pastor Ricky Floyd's death could have been avoided if both parties would have just simply walked away. I offer my sincere condolences and prayers to the family and friends of Pastor Ricky Floyd. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Let me know your thoughts on this story.
Okay, good people. Y'all have a good night.
And before you leave,
I'm out of here.
To like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Please know that once it goes to trial, we will be on it, tea sippers. Good night.